been some weeks since I've done a YouTube video. I used to make them sort of every week, and then trying to balance it with the day job, I found that actually the best time to do these videos was during the holidays, because I teach media and photography when I'm not doing YouTube videos and photography. So I'm doing these in the winter of 2021-2022. We've just turned into the new year, and this is probably going out in February, and it's been really dull here. The weather I've visited the south of England has been atrocious, and for all over the Christmas break I've been wanting to go out and take some photographs, because I had 3 exciting cameras I want to talk about and wanted to test, and today was the first time in 2 weeks where the weather's been good enough to actually go out and take some photographs. And the first camera I'm going to talk about is a Yashica. Now this is a Yashica Minster, and there were a number of Minsters. This is a Minister D, and Yashica in the late 50s, early 60s developed a whole range of rangefinder cameras, some of which were very high quality indeed. And during this time it was interesting how they were all rangefinders. So you've got a little bright thing in the middle that moves, you get a double image and you focus until that image comes together. But the technology was changing very quickly at this time, and we went from selenium meters. Selenium meters are where you've got a cell, no battery for the meter, to battery powered meters, and the later range of Yashicas, which I think I've talked about before, were a range of electro cameras with quite a sophisticated metering system. Now this is a model from 1964. 1964 is a significant year to me, and I need to say no more, but you might get what I mean by it being a significant year. So 1964, Yashica produced this Minister D, and what we have here is a rangefinder camera. So as I said, you've got a double image and you focus until the image comes together. You have a moderately fast lens. It's a 2.8 Yashica. It's a 4.5 lens, which is interesting because although there was a sort of convention of saying that a 50mm lens was the norm, a 4.5 is a nice lens because it's just slightly wider, and I think it's just slightly more versatile. Now this was a sophisticated camera in its day, because we have a metering system, we have focus system, and we've got shutter speeds up to 1/500th of a second, which is moderately fast for a leaf shutter. Let's have a look at how to use this camera. As I said, it takes a battery, and they are batteries, I can't precisely remember the name, I'll try to put it in the link, but they are batteries which are still readily available. The later cameras took a really quite hard to attain battery, so what I would say, if you get a Yashica, do look out for what type of battery it takes. As I said, this takes a readily available battery, where some of the later ones are harder to get hold of. And of course, if it has a selenium meter, if it's working, you won't need a battery. So, basics first. Opening the camera is interesting because not only do you move that down, you have to press it, and when you press it, the camera will open. I have put new seals. Seals are the felt parts there. You'll quite often find on this type of camera the seals will have disintegrated, but you can buy felt and simply do it yourself. It's not a complicated job, and it's quite a safe job to do. I would be really wary of things like trying to repair shutters, for some people are very brave and can do it well, but a seal I would be quite happy to repair. So do the seals there, I've done that, and you load it manually. So straightforward to load the camera, close the back. Metering and this camera can be used without the meter, which is a really useful thing, because it's often the meters that fail. But this camera, the meter is working, and I've put in a new battery. You simply press the red button there, and that activates the meter. Now, there was what was called an EV system, evaluative value, or exposure value. I think EV stood for exposure value, and this was an index worked out by the major companies of the day, and I can never quite understand how it works, but it's a number system, and on the lens here you have a number from 2 to 17, and on the meter you have a number 3 to 17, and basically the exposure, you look at what number the needle is pointing to, and then you simply select the number, and it's almost like a shutter priority on this camera, because what happens, let's say I've put it's 125, and it's interlocked, it has locked with the aperture, and as I move the number, the aperture moves. So you've got an interlock, which was very popular in the 1960s. You can still manually change and break out that interlock, but it's there for a reason. Okay, so you simply, as I said, set the exposure there. Focus is straightforward. You focus until you've got a very faint double image in the viewfinder, and you focus until the two images come together. And that is basically it. This is a nice working example. I bought this from a dealer for a very reasonable price. They do vary in price, from £10–15 upwards to £60–70, depending. There's lots and lots of different models, and the 1.7 lens is always the one people really go for. I personally have found that the earlier ones just seem to work better. The later ones often have this bigger battery, and the meters sometimes seem to fail. The electronics seem to fail more, in my experience. Well, I took this out recently. Let's see how I got on. The first photograph was a tiny bit disappointing, because I do think it's just slightly soft. I think it might be suffering from camera shake. But the second photograph here, taken at Swannies, was absolutely fine. And as I got used to the camera, I did find the lens was quite sharp. I liked using the rangefinder. It is a very easy range of focusing, a method of focusing that was incredibly popular a few years ago. The light conditions were not fantastic. It's a winter afternoon. I think I'm about 5.6 towards 8 here. But as you can see here, the definition is quite good. Swannies is a fascinating old town with some great Victorian architecture. In the Victorian era, it was famous for exporting stone, and it had a chap who was very keen on, when they went to London to take stone, they often came back with buildings. That's Pat Ballas, and this is a building that came from the City of London. It's now the front of the town hall in Swannies, and it's a fantastic building. It's also got some modern buildings, and here is the theatre, named after George Molam, who was this stone magnate. But again, I'm quite happy with this photo. It's absolutely fine from sharpness. And again, I quite like the definition here on the library. There's a quite good modern architecture in the town as well, and this is the library, and I quite liked these reflections. The metering is working well, the camera worked well. I was really pleased with the results. I was using former Pan 100, developed it in ID 11, and as I hope you can see, the results were absolutely fine. I mispronounced the camera at the start. It's the Minister, not a Minster, a Minister D. I was really pleased with it. I hope you've enjoyed the photos. Thanks for watching.